I've had it happen before where a neighbor to our listing property would like either their mom or their sister or a really good friend to live nearby them in the neighborhood. So sometimes they know somebody that is a potential buyer, which helps your client.
If, for example, it's going room to room, I don't like chase them room to room, but if it is, like once in a while they'll ask me a question, they will enter the room first.
Yes.
But in general, if they're just walking in from the front door, it's at a corner where I'm not going to be in their way.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the House podcast. I'm Toni Singh.
And I'm Jenny Woon. Welcome.
And today's topic is open house etiquette.
Ooh, fun.
It sounds so exciting. We're going to break the episode into a few parts today. Prep before an open house and during an open house. What kinds of key things do you want to do as an agent who's representing your clients and the property to the best of your ability? And then post open house, some do's and don'ts.
The reason why I wanted to put together this episode is because, number one, we just did a session in person with Jessica Chen from West Coast Living. She's an agent, a top producer at our office, and she actually invited us to one of her listings and held a little...
you did a role play?
Little bit of role play with her and her team, but also she provided some really good tips on open house etiquettes.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And we're not even talking about like cooperation, realtor to realtor. It's more about hosting an open house, whether it's a detached property or an attached property. So I felt like maybe we can just add to some of the content that I learned.
Okay, let's talk about preparation before an open house.
Yes. So most realtors think that when they're they could host an open house with their eyes closed. But there are so much prep work that needs to go behind the scenes before you're actually there on the weekend. So let's start off with when you're prepping, what kind of information is necessary? So first of all, do you host your open houses?
I normally don't anymore, no.
Okay.
But I did have a quick look at the topic today, and most of the things that are on here I used to do when I hosted my own open houses. But yeah, no, not anymore.
And so who does your open houses for you? Because you have so many listings.
I mean, I pick and choose. Like sometimes I'll do it. There's a rare chance where I would do it if you have team members and things out of town. Anoop normally does it. Angela will normally do it.
Okay.
But I like my weekends with my family now.
Right.
And I was just saying to Jenny before we started this episode, whenever I'm driving on the weekend now and I see an agent's open house sign, I'm like, oh. You don't host opens anymore, right?
I don't,
how long has it been?
Years. Yeah. But the reason is I really want agents on my team to
do it in a maximized way.
Yeah.
For themselves and for their clients. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you said something important. What kinds of things would you have ready to go for your preparation before the open? I guess we're maybe talking about advertising it and marketing materials first.
So I would say when you are, let's just say it's not you that's hosting the open house, prepare like a binder, an information binder that is available on the kitchen countertop, somewhere close to the feature sheet. And that binder includes information like their survey lots, maybe even the Form B, maybe even the full feature sheets, the PDS, the floor plan, anything about BC assessment. So anything about even just like maybe the latest bill. Like
a utility bill?
Utility bill.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's such a great, I mean, in your experience, if you were walking through a home where the agent had prepped properly for that open house, wouldn't you appreciate it and have confidence in the product and the realtor that you would potentially be dealing with?
As a potential seller, I would be really impressed with that agent.
Absolutely.
But the worst thing I've seen is an agent sitting on the couch on their phone.
Or they're like, I don't know. and I'm not going to look into it.
I haven't had that. That's really bad. Also, Dropbox. I use Dropbox
I do too.
link, and I organize it into subfolders.
Yeah.
So subfolders would look like strata minutes, and then it'll be even another layer of subfolders based on year.
We do the same thing.
And financial statements.
Yeah.
Bylaws and rules, engineering report, and then I also have one that says buyer needs to sign. So that includes my PDS, that includes the title search, that includes as well as the team addendum.
Or material latent defect form, any of that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. We're organized.
Yes. Another thing is reminder to take a picture of the parking spot and storage locker so you don't have to go down there.
Absolutely.
Looking like an idiot, not knowing where it's located.
So we've been doing this forever. And another tip, you guys probably already do it though. We normally put the picture of the storage locker and parking lot, if it's a strata, in notes and then share it with the team. So for example, if you need a quick thing to look at, right? And you don't, if you got 5 strata listings, right? It's easy to get the information confused perhaps. Mm-hmm. So in each of the notes, have the picture and of the parking and storage locker there, plus the major things, insurance, Form B information, other things as well, like the major bylaw questions that people normally ask.
Yep. How many dogs?
You
how
look
many
prepared.
Cats? What's the rentals?
Yeah.
I've had people ask, what's the deductible?
Yeah, for sure. So it's normally parking, storage, maintenance fee, insurance information, contingency fund, number of units. Like those are the common questions that you're going to get asked. Barbecues, pets, rentals, or short-term
hours of the concierge.
rentals.
What are if there's a guest room, what are the fees for a guest room?
Yeah.
Those are, like minor details, but it actually may affect people. Decision
100%. Especially, I just want to add one other thing to this. In a changing market, like let's say it's changing into a buyer's market, you best be the listing realtor that's going to highlight that property properly because you're the one who wants to generate an offer. I was going to say one other thing, but I forgot. So we can move on.
Okay, we can come back to it. When do you arrive? If your open house is 2 to 4,
early.
Half an hour early. Okay, so you're putting up the signs and you're arriving half an hour early to obviously turn on all the lights, open all the blinds, make sure that there's nothing in the toilet or like the
close the toilet seats.
Close the toilet seats. The cat, just in case the cat decided to not go into their litter box.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing that's happened actually, since we're on the topipic, when you used to host open houses?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So an agent really had to go to the bathroom.
Oh no.
And okay, this is going to be so gross.
Just don't say who it was, but you could tell the story.
And I didn't have toilet paper. It was a brand new home.
So was the water even connected for flushing?
That's a good question. I don't remember, but it's a developer's brand new home. So we just don't allow any bathroom use. Okay. So the agent basically went to the bath, they
didn't ask first?
In his pants.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And it actually, I think, fell, I know for sure.
That makes me feel sad for them.
Went through their pants and some dropped on my floor that I had to wipe up. Yes, it actually happened. Braden's looking at me.
Hey, anything can happen. Think about it, though, for a second. If you really needed to use the washroom and they're not letting you, you got to go to the washroom.
I never use the bathroom in any of my listings.
Yeah, I don't either. But I've had it happen where, if you've got a listing, for example, in Vancouver and someone's coming from the Fraser Valley, that drive alone is like an hour. And they normally have to go to the washroom when they get there.
Use the Tim Hortons or McDonald's bathroom.
Okay.
But anyways, that's a true story. And I felt really bad. But
yeah,
I'm sure it was uncomfortable and embarrassing for the agent. But
that's okay.
Okay, 30 minutes, you arrive. Marketing around the neighborhood. Are you letting the neighbors know and inviting them to the open house?
Yes.
Okay, what's the reason for that? For our listeners who are brand new, who don't have a lot of listings, what's the benefit?
Well, okay, there's multi-benefits here. If you're looking at it from the benefit of your client's perspective, you want to make sure that you're getting garnering the most exposure for their home. And I've had it happen before where a neighbor to our listing property would like either their mom or their sister or a really good friend to live nearby them in the neighborhood. So sometimes they know somebody that is a potential buyer,
Right.
which helps your client, the seller.
Right.
And ultimately, though, if you're wanting to break into an area or you don't have many listings, it's an amazing way to meet the neighbors who might potentially sell. They're going to see how professional you are, how organized you are, personable you are, and it's just a great way to network.
Absolutely.
What are you? What are your thoughts on
Well,
that? Do you wanna add anything?
I like to add, by invitation, there's potential to get leads out of that because
sure.
you're just so excited to showcase a property. But also, the way I would position is, wouldn't you want to choose your neighbors? And so if you can view the home, recommend it to somebody that you know, and then actually have someone move into the neighborhood that you know, I kind of feel like it's a win-win situation for like the neighbors. And also I feel like sometimes people don't like your parking spot being taken. So if there's a huge open house and there's tons of people coming through, some neighbors kind of get annoyed with that, right?
Yeah,
so
especially when it's snowing.
Yes, yeah. So I kind of feel like, being like almost like being nice to a tenant, you also have to be nice to a neighbor.
For sure.
Just to give them a heads up. Hey, there's going to be tons of people coming on your street. Why don't you come over and take a look? And I think that's just introducing yourself a good way.
I love that.
I would say as well, just wanting to know how much signage goes around, like how many signs do you put out typically?
Well, I think it depends on where the listing's located, but typically if you've got really busy streets, like a really busy main vein or intersection, you'd start from that intersection and then have it be a map, right? With slowly going up to direct them all the way around the block really to your listing. Do you do anything different than that? Like sometimes it's 6 to 8 signs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm used to, like when I was doing new home sales, sometimes the developer will provide balloons, like a helium tank for us.
It stands out.
So yeah, adding a balloon. I've had, what else have I done? Nothing else. Like I've seen stakes and grass. That's, I think those.
It can help sometimes.
It can, but I feel like when you're investing in that type of signage, it gets wrecked really easily. And then once it starts looking decrepit and like folded and everything, then it also affects your brand. So I don't really invest in grass stakes.
For sure. I don't have them either, actually.
Okay, so let's move on to digital media, is using Instagram and Facebook Live. This was so popular during COVID when we couldn't have open houses. Everybody was doing lives.
That's
and
true.
now nobody does lives.
That's true. That's right, because people are coming in person. I mean, I think it's still probably worthwhile to do it because of the expansion for other people that are not here, right? Like just if you're going to do even a 3D Matterport for people that are not here as buyers, they'd still buy something potentially off of the 3D Matterport, which we've had happen.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even through the 3D Matterport, you can even create your own Zoom or recording talking about you walking through the home. So there's a number of ways. Creating a teaser video, you're walking through the home, or you're doing you're showing off some of the best features to entice some of the viewers to tune in. You can also include your open house details, when you're going to be there, and when to show up. And then you can then publish it with a cover photo. So it's so easy nowadays to just do everything off your phone. Another thing, alongside Reels, is adding in stories, because stories are often viewed more often than videos and Reels. Just a couple days before the open or the day of, you're showcasing some of the great assets of the home, the exterior and the interior. And it's so easy, again, to overlay some text on top of the stories. So one thing that you can maybe say is, hey guys, welcome to 1234 Rushmore Court. We have an open house today on June the 24th. Come down and check us out. We're going to be here 2 to 4 p.m. Another reason. So I think I
like it. It's friendly. It gets the information out there.
It's quick.
Serves the purpose.
Right. Prepping the home before people walk through.
Oh, it's so important. Now, when we're saying prepping, are you thinking more so prepping the sellers to do the work beforehand or prepping when you get there?
I think you as the agent,
Yeah, okay.
what you're prepping to the home because obviously we all know you need to declutter, you need to depersonalize. That could be another episode. But what we're referring to is what you can do, eliminating smells. So maybe bringing in a fresh candle, adding in some diffusers there.
I have a recommendation for this though.
Yeah.
Just be careful if you're adding in scents. Sometimes, have you ever walked through an open or a showing where it smells so strong that you can't even stay inside the home? And sometimes I've noticed that sometimes for the chemical type of what are they? Air diffusers or the candles.
The plugins?
Yeah,
Okay.
the plugins especially.
Are strong.
The plugins I don't love, so just be careful with that. Natural diffusers, I'm okay. Like I'm really sensitive to smells.
Right.
And I've had it happen before where the smell actually stays on my clothes after being in the home for 5 minutes where people have used chemical stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, but
To kill off offensive odors, little bit of a tip. Place a cup of white vinegar in a saucepan and bring it to simmer on the stovetop.
or use lemons too.
Yes,
in
and
the
that
kitchen
would get rid of the scent. Do it about like half an hour before before the open house.
Yeah, so you could have it on while you're doing your signs or something.
No,
No,
don't
I'm
turn the
kidding.
stove while
That was
you're
a
out of
trick
the house.
question.
Okay. Lights. So
Yeah.
turn on all the lights, open all the blinds.
Beddings and pillows for you are
Yes.
probably huge, right?
Yeah, karate chop down the middle. That's something that I learned in pre-sales.
Yes.
Flushing the toilets and
Closing the lids.
Closing the lids. Something that I learned from the open house etiquette course yesterday is adding in juice boxes
For the kids.
and
Smart.
Rice Krispie little squares.
It's smart. You don't want them
snacks.
misbehaving in the home, right? It's like,
Right.
here, do you...
Well, what Jessica mentioned was if the kids love sitting there and watching TV and having their juice box and snacks,
Yeah.
which I also feel like you kind of need permission. You need
You
to
have to
ask
ask the
permission
parents
there's
first,
like
guys. Yeah.
nut and allergy.
100%, but that just goes without saying.
Okay. I see. I wouldn't know. I'm just like, here's a freebie stuff. Take it.
Oh, what? You have a nut allergy? Who's got an EpiPen?
So, ask the parents. But if you keep the kids busy, then the parents are just so
At
much more
ease.
relaxed to spend more time at the home.
It's not only that, but potentially they can envision their family there, right? In that space. Yeah, I like that. That's a great idea.
Taking advantage of the TVs and speaker systems that are there. So turn on some jazz music, classical music, some calming music, and play maybe like a Disney show on the TV.
Yeah, that's also a great idea for
That'll
families.
distract
and
the
things.
kids. Okay, let's move on to during the open house. The goal is obviously to make a lasting impression on the agents, on the neighbors, and the visitors. So how you represent the property is a reflection on how you're going to also execute all the offers. So what do you do when the visitors come in? Do you get them to sign in right away?
I do.
Okay.
Because I know not everybody does. Well, I mean, I used to when I did opens, but normally when I greet them, it's a non-pressure kind of thing. It's like, oh, hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Definitely have a look around at the home and let us know if you have any questions. Because, when you walk into a store and if you're buying clothes, right? And the person asks you, oh, can I help you right away? They're going to say no. So you want to give them the space, but I always ask them to sign in. Normally it's at the table or somewhere open. And by the way, could you please sign in? The seller would like us to keep track of how many people we've had through their home today.
Right.
And on that sheet, it'll actually say as well, there's a space where it says, do they have an agent? If so, what is the name of the agent?
Right.
Because I would want to follow up with the agents after to see what the interest level is.
What is your response when someone refuses to sign in?
I've never had that happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's in the delivery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and you do it by paper and pen, right? There's no
We do.
tablets
We
or
never,
anything.
I know that some people use tablets, but I don't know in your experience, have you ever had it happen where the tablet is not working properly?
No.
Okay, I have. I'm like, oh, or it's
Because I'm most
I
likely
just like the
playing
hard
on
copy.
it beforehand. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's a backup is to have it
And we just
in
scan
writing.
it after, right?
I kind of feel like when you're doing it in writing, you get a lot of messy writers, and then you end up having the wrong phone number or the wrong email
or
address.
they give you a fake
Or
phone
they may
number.
give you a fake one. But having a computer and tablet, it almost
For sure.
feels like you have to give something accurate. I don't know.
There's benefits
Maybe
to
it's
both.
like the psychology of that,
Yeah.
that it may automatically come in wrong, like when you're punching it in. You know, like
It could.
there's a lot of apps and tools are like,
Yeah.
this is an invalid email or something like that.
Yeah,
So
it could,
Anyways,
for
I
sure.
think it automatically
Jenny
prompts me
raises
to,
a
like-
great point.
Yeah, so I think there's Open Door is a really good app,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I have a question. I know it's been a while for you, but when you're doing the open, where are you standing? Like, where
Definitely
do you go?
not in front of a window. And if for example it's going room to room, I don't like chase them room to room, but if
course.
it is like once in a while they'll ask me a question, they will enter the room first.
Yes.
But in general, if they're just walking in from the front door, it's at a corner
Yeah.
where I'm not going to be in their way,
Yeah. Why not in front of a window?
blocking the light.
Okay, just making sure. So some people might be like, why not in
Thank
front
you.
of the window?
Yeah. No, so if you're just, stand on the side where it's not part of the flow of the home.
For sure.
Let's just say it's a small 500 square foot condo. Go against the wall. Like,
Yeah.
Be
You'd
a
be
tree.
obtrusive if you were right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
You can't walk around you.
yeah. Don't be sitting on the couch and feeling like you're
Scrolling
right
on-
at home. And so I also find it that when there's a lot of people in the room, in the home, and it's a small space, my suggestion is having somebody in the lobby to be the host who's greeting people in the lobby, and you're chatting in terms of the traffic flow.
Oh, for
'Cause if
sure.
you already have one or two groups in a very small space,
Too tiny.
you just don't want them coming up right away.
Yeah.
And blocking some of the free flow.
Absolutely. What kind of questions do you ask for feedback when you're, after I guess they walk through, especially when there are other people in the room, if you're the agent hosting the open house?
You know what? I know there's so many different ways to ask. And I would probably avoid very open-ended questions if there are other people that are potential buyers,
Yeah.
because you may lead yourself into uninterested purchasers. So for me, I would say I would more ask about their experience so far in home search. Have you guys been looking for a while now? That would be one of my questions. Or another question could be, is this the type of home that suits your needs? So
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like black and white, or what would you be asking?
I mean, I used to ask this, but technically you're not allowed to anymore. I used to be curious as to whether or not they already live in the area.
You can't ask that question?
Well, technically it's
not-
considered personal-ish information. There's a gray area. But I always used to ask that. And here's why. Because most buyers, sure, they need to love the home. They need to envision them or their family in the home. But if they are from White Rock and they just came to Vancouver today and it's their very first time, they're not in love with the area. Very unlikely that they're going to bring you an offer. And that's why I used to ask the question, because they need to be familiar. Like, what is it about the area? And then does the home meet the requirements for the area that they want to be in?
so would you ask, what brings you to this neighborhood? Would that be a good question?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that.
Because I think
it's less, because however they're going to answer, you're not actually asking for motivation specifically.
Right. Yeah. And you're not giving advice on the home or anything like that. So you don't really need a disclosure of representation at this point.
No.
I would also include the disclosure of representation and privacy and consent in the binder.
Yeah,
by the
for
way.
sure.
Yeah. Or even like in a plaque. At
Yeah,
the
some people
entrance.
do that.
How do you deal with large groups who come in all at once in a house? So would you talk to everybody at the same time, or would you do it one by one?
Well, I don't know if there's a right way to answer this question, but I normally split them up. So for example, if there's a big group, one, it's great because all of them know that other families are touring the same home and there's interest. But normally one group will start upstairs, one group will start on the main floor, and then the other group can start in the basement. And then, we just let them come through kind of and gravitate around the home. Because I feel like if you have too many parameters around, during COVID, it's like, oh, only this amount of people in, which I got.
Yeah.
But sometimes it stresses people out now. So we don't really do it that way. Do you have other suggestions?
I love giving presentations because I'm so used to it in project sales. So I'm used to like 50 people around me, and then I'm talking about the benefits and the features. So I don't mind it. It actually, and I get a little bit, I guess, passionate and enthusiastic about the home. So I'm kind of used to that. So I like when large groups are in one room. It may have a negative effect, but at the same time, I think most people are pretty to themselves anyways. So until they look through the home first. Making friends.
This is good.
Making friends with the concierge, with the building manager, and even the security guard.
For sure. And I added caretaker to this because they know everything that's happening in the building and can get you into any room.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love them.
Yeah. And I think if you need to ask them for favors or like even just an answer, the question, they're able to help you. How do you deal with the tenants?
Okay.
So let's just say you're preparing the listing and there's a tenant in there. You haven't met them, but there's a warm introduction by email with the owner, the seller, and you.
Yeah. I find that the best relationships that we've had with tenants are when there is some kind of schedule thought out beforehand where we're actually asking them what works best for them, right? Because it's consideration for their time and the fact that they're living in this space.
Yeah.
So typically when we're taking a listing, we would either have a conversation with the tenant then and there, or exactly as you say, if we're introduced over email, I normally just have a quick conversation over the phone saying, hey, listen, this is what you can expect during the first week on. Our live date is X date. What is your work schedule like and how does the family operate? Because we'll do our best to get showings and do opens outside of those times. And for the first week, we might not have as much flexibility. Like, would these times work for you? And then give them the times. And normally, as long as you've given them that consideration and you're treating them like humans, we haven't really had many problems at all with tenants. We also always explain to them too the 24-hour notice thing, right? Just to be respectful of their time. And occasionally, if we really needed access or I knew that they were getting a workout with showings, I'll give them a gift card. It just shows, it's just, it's nice. We're working on the relationship.
Have you ever converted a tenant into a buyer?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Okay. I was selling a condo on Gilmore in Brentwood Park area. And there were these really nice tenants. They had no idea about the home selling and buying process. We worked out a schedule with them. And then they had said, they're like, hey, you know what? We really like the way that you work. It's very organized. We're thinking about purchasing a home. I said, great. Have you had a pre-approval yet? Again, just a conversation, right? And they hadn't. So I set them up with my broker, one of our brokers. They got pre-approved and then we helped them on the buying end and they ended up purchasing a condo nearby, which was amazing because then they were no longer paying someone else's rent and they were building their own wealth, which was so awesome. They were literally paying the same in rent that they were going to anyhow for their mortgage payment.
Right.
So yeah, it was fun. We still talk to them.
Congrats.
Yeah,
okay,
thank you.
Good. Okay, let's go into post open house. What do you do with all the names and phone numbers that you've collected?
I mean, we definitely call everybody. And so
even the ones with agents?
No, I don't. I'm not calling them. I will call their agent.
Okay,
I have a very hard line there. Yeah, for sure. I'm like, no, I want to be respectful to my colleagues, which is why on the form it asks for the agent's name or full name and telephone number. But of course, we're following up with everybody the next day for sure. And then sometimes, there's additional follow-up that needs to happen, but it accomplishes a few things. Number one, you can see what the general feedback is from all the people that have gone through the home. Like what are they excited about? What's a detracting feature or something about the sale that could be difficult?
Right.
And yeah, we've also been able to generate multiple offers that way as well, through calling through the list.
Of course, yeah.
So do you have, like, for you guys, when you're either calling, do you call or email, and how quickly are you in touch with people that have signed in?
I would say either that night or the day after, because I want to be able to give the feedback to my seller. But if there's an offer, let's just say we are preparing offers to be presented on Tuesday, then obviously your follow-ups should be no later than Monday. Right? For
sure. Yeah. And you want to see what the interest is if anyone's intending to write.
Yeah, because everybody's going to ask what's the level of interest or how many offers are you expecting. So I definitely feel like asking for feedback will do you good, just so that if you priced it right, or if you're going to be getting more than one offer, or even just if changes in the home needed to be made by the seller.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
like
important.
They needed to move something so that there's more space in a certain room, or they need to touch up because of this certain eyesore that's on the wall. You never know, right?
I actually have a further question to this for post open house. Let's say you've called through the list and there's significant interest. And someone says that they're in the process of writing you an offer, or they send one in and you have one in hand. What are your thoughts on sending a touch base out to the people that have viewed? I've noticed that some realtors do that, and it's like, oh, hey, thank you for attending my open. We have one offer in hand. If anyone else wants to write, then let me know ASAP.
Yeah. That is the best to be able to
it's efficient,
round up,
right?
Round up a bunch of other offers. And I would say most of my sellers would actually ask that question: have you reached out to everybody to know what the interest level is? So that's a very good practice to do. I think that's also in general the agent or the buyer that have come through would appreciate that too, because maybe they were interested, and they would actually get mad if they weren't told that there's an offer in play. So I think that would be appreciated. I think also one of the things, a great way to find out if the buyer comes through without their agent, a great way to find out if they're actually working with the buyer is, did you find us online, or were you sent by your agent? I think that's a great way to, without saying, are you working with an agent? It's just a roundabout way to ask if they're working with an agent.
For sure.
How do you feel about, and then what kind of format are you giving feedback to your seller?
It's such a good question. It honestly depends on the seller. Like, I often sandwich it though. So normally it'll be like, okay, we had X amount of people through. The positive feedback was this, or negative feedback was this, positive feedback was this, and then the next steps for like something encouraging, right? Because sometimes you're not going to get offers all the time right away. And then it'll be something along the lines of, they would want to know, well, is this regular activity then, given the market right now? Do I have anything to worry about? Like, what are we thinking the timeline's going to be? And just reassuring them about the process, I think.
So for me, I'm automatically texting them that right after the open or after the showing, I'm done. This is the buyer profile. This is the feedback. And I'm purely just giving facts based on the feedback that was given to me.
Yeah.
So if a bedroom window was small, or if there's
it's
too
not
many
you saying it, it's the buyer.
Exactly. And sometimes I even do a screenshot of the feedback that was given to me.
Especially if it's something really negative,
it's not coming from me. They're just confirming what I said.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I would suggest as well going into the analytics. So I go into my REW analytics, my Paragon analytics, and just showing my seller how many impressions and clicks the listing has had compared to the comparables in the area as well.
Yeah. And do you do that on after your first week on, or right away?
Yeah, usually weekly.
Us too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so finally, we end with what are some don'ts? We mentioned don't be on your phone and don't be sitting on the couch. When there is no one that you're helping, where do you hang out?
I'm out front. So if it's in a strata building, I'm not even in the lobby.
No,
I'm
you're
actually on the
outside.
street, not on the street, but on the sidewalk, getting
Yeah.
people to come in. I've sold a place
Oh.
that way before too, who were not looking for an open, but I'm like, hey, do you want to come in and check? I was there.
Yeah.
Right. And they did. And they were like, shoot, maybe we'll buy this. I'm like, you absolutely should. What's your realtor's name? And it's worked.
Yeah, okay.
Opportunities.
Nice.
Or if it's a detached home, I'm normally outside on the street. And sometimes you can have a conversation with one of the neighbors too, right?
Awesome.
What do you think?
No, I mean that if you got a deal, obviously it works. But as long as you don't sit in the unit
Oh my
and
gosh,
hiding
no.
in there when there's nobody looking in the unit. So hang out
sure.
at least in the lobby. I've actually gotten tons of clients that way.
Yeah, you can. They're like, oh, how do you
Yeah.
like the building? Oh, you think you're selling?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What happens if you don't know the answer to a question that a prospective buyer or their agent is asking you?
Let me get back to you on that question.
Yeah.
Simple.
And do it
some-
ASAP.
Yeah, some people are okay not getting the answer right away. And it's okay that you don't know the answer right away.
sure.
Because you don't live there. So just let them know that you're going to get back to them on that question. And then finally, when people come looking through the home and then they give their opinion, how should
People
you
love giving
react
opinions.
as an agent?
Well, definitely a tip here would be not to act defensive. It's not your home. And if someone doesn't like some aspect of the home or the price, then it's on them, not you. Also, sometimes people say those things as a negotiation tactic. So you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they pretend that they don't like it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
But then they
or
actually
the
put an
price is
offer
way
through.
too high.
Yeah, right. So my response would be, thank you so much for your opinion.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
Done.
it. Yeah. And then, go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I hope these tips on open house etiquette it was useful to you for a successful open house. Remember to plan your open house. Remember to prep your listing. And as well, hosting your open house on follow-ups is so important to adding prospects to your database.
Yes.
So another thing is tag teaming with a mortgage broker.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a lawyer who wants to meet new clients. They love to be involved.
For sure. In the past, have you ever hosted an open with a mortgage broker at your side? Yeah.
Tons
Because
of
people
times.
want to know sometimes, can they afford it? And maybe
Yeah.
they don't have a pre-approval yet.
Yep. And I'm sure I think they can also be very helpful if they were the greeter, the host,
Yeah.
in the lobby. So I really don't think they mind. I would find somebody that would be interested in hosting on the weekends, who are available on the weekends.
Great advice.
But yeah, here are some ways to get new leads. Hopefully this episode has helped you. And again, please, if you really liked this episode, give us a 5-star rating or is it 5 stars rating?
Yeah, it's 5 stars.
5-star
Like,
rating.
share, or subscribe.
And please listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks, guys, for tuning
We
in.
look forward to talking to you soon.
Bye.